All right, so we've got a sphere thing here, and that's fine. What if we made this a little bit more interesting? Well, we can start on this sphere itself and say, let's do that, make that a polygon thing. Let's make it have lots of points on it that we can mess with. And let's put like a mountain on it and say, well, let's look at it. Mountain, of course, displaces it all crazy like. This is probably too much. So do like half of that. We need it to be animated, so we need to just put the $T on here. And there you go. So it's just getting bigger and smaller and whatnot. This will create a lot more, turn this thing off too. This will create a lot more, variation in here, as you can imagine. Just like in PyroSims, a fun input usually leads to a more fun output. So I'm going to flip book this guy. These should be pretty fast at this stage. Like so. You could even use, if your computer is fast enough or your graphics card is fast enough, you could turn on the OpenCL acceleration stuff on the flip solver itself. I guess I gotta cancel this. Over here under solver, you can find the OpenCL here, and it will be faster after an initial pause there. As usual with such things, you'll get a technically different solve out of this. It won't be exactly the same as if you had not. But, it looks pretty much the same. Still working. So that's cool. You can imagine, too, that the more that you reduce your particle separation here, as you can see immediately, the thicker it gets, and again, the smaller it goes. Still pretty fast until we get down here, but now we can see it's more of a continuous surface. We don't see like those big gaps. And also, as you'd imagine, the more resolution we have in these particles here, the better our final surface will look too. So that's cool. Something I would mention is as it falls down into here, we actually are losing some volume. All right, it's kind of hard to say, but anytime you have a fast-moving liquid hitting this like this, there's lots of little things we can try to do to claw back little issues like that. For one, under particle motion, turning separation on is typically a good idea if you have any kind of speed in your sim. This just does a separate particle pass to try to make sure that the particles are kind of still stacked, kept away. I mentioned reseeding earlier. Reseeding will kill particles that are too close. And what this is trying to do is keep them a little further away from each other before it gets to that. You can already see immediately now way more volume. We still have this flat area here because of the pressure, the high speed water. But look how it's building up all nice now. Still have a lot of these other demo windows open here, but and let's kill that one. Let's take this one out for a ride. And actually, while we're here, so separation's a great one to immediately get a higher quality sim for very little extra cost. Turn on under volume motion, under collisions here, there's a thing called stick on collision. What's nice about that is by default, all these surfaces are like kind of infinitely smooth, and it doesn't ever really slow the water down at all. To kind of emulate surface tension a little bit. I mean, this whole sim is several meters wide. Actually, how big is it? I forget already. Let's see. If the source is apparently, yeah, so this is already a half a meter wide for this source here. Actually, what am I doing? I have it literally spelled out here under volume limits. Okay, it's 3 meters wide. It's pretty big. We're probably not going to see surface tension at this size, but it can still be nice to turn on stick on collision. What it'll do is it won't literally stick on collision, but it will kind of slow it down on collision. So turn off, I like to turn off max distance, turn on max cells. The cells, again, are the voxel cells. So we just want to have one cell sticking out from the collision where it is slowing down. It is removing, as you can see, the scale is 0.1. So it's just removing 10% of the speed as the liquid passes over those areas. And that can be nice to, again, either emulate surface tension a little bit or a little bit of, if not friction, the way that, if you can imagine like water pouring down a hill, it doesn't just pour down infinitely. It'll kind of get stopped by whether it's debris or the fact that the water's thinning out, or just kind of, it's kind of like friction. So in any case, stick and collision exists for a reason, and it's to kind of tame liquids as they pass over colliders. So that can be nice. So there you go. So here's our first sim with just a sphere and a basic volume here. This is kind of like our example from before, essentially, when we made a basic flip simulation. So now let's make a more interesting one with colliders and a more odd source.